Hello and welcome back to Sheets Magic. The last time we left off, we've successfully created the start menu. We have prepped our data and we've created a blank sheet for analytics, which is where we'll be doing most of our heavy lifting here. If you would like any feedback for your data sheets, you can always submit it in this data prep. So view assignment, show me that your data prep has been done and you can submit it here. Today we're going to go over counting number of participants. And how do we do that? Let's get started. First up, we're going to start counting our participants. So I'm going to key in participants here. And I would like to count total number of participants, total participants in Central, total participants in East, and total participants in South. And let me just bold that. You can also create color if you want, just so that it stands out as a title. For total, we're going to do equals count. If you notice, count shows the number of numeric values in a data set. What happens if we use this? And remember, we named our ranges so we can quickly type in email. You'll see it returns 0 because none of it is numbers. It's actually all emails. So what we can do instead is we're going to do count A, which is the number of values in the data set. And this is easy for us to just quickly count how many total entries have been submitted. You can use this for timestamps, for regions, for workshop, essentially any data that every person has to submit with the form. So I'm going to put count A for email, and this will generate my total number of participants, 126. And if we compare it with the original data, so if I click this email and I count all the way to the bottom, if you see down here, the count is 126 on the bottom right. So that shows me that the data is correct. If you do have repeating entries and you would like to count the different numbers instead of just all the values, you can use count unique, which will generate all the unique values. But we're not going to use that for today. We're just going to do count A, hit enter, and that will give us 126. How do we do this for regions? So specific regions, if you notice, there are different regions in our data set. And how do we do this? Is we do count if. And this time, since region is also mandatory data, I can count if on region. And if you're not sure, there's always this question mark, which will actually give you suggestions on what you're supposed to key in. So this tells us the range and the criteria. So for count if, I'm going to put region. And what is my criteria? If my region equals to Central, so we're going to put inverted commas before and after. And if it equals to Central, then it will count that as a data set. As you can see, it's 104. The problem with using Central is that this becomes a static data, right? And what happens if I accidentally change this to something else? This equation won't update. And the reason why we want this to update according to our data is so that we can do drop-down boxes. And I'll show you in a bit how we'll do this, but we want this to be dynamic. So it means it refers back to a different cell. And from there, we can manipulate the cell. So what we're going to do now is for South, we're going to do equals count if, same thing, region. And instead of putting inverted commas East, I'm just going to hit A4. And now this will show me 11. What I would like you to do is try this out for South and see what number you get. So same thing, try to do referencing. So if you do it correctly, it should refer you to A5. And what I also like to do in column C is to give a descriptor of what exactly we are calculating, right? This is essentially total participants for all workshops. And this can be total participants from Central in all workshops. Then what I can do is I can also click on this and I can drag it down so it'll be the same. And I'll just change this to East and I'll change this to South. So you can pause the video if you would like to try it out for South. If you want to know, I'm just going to do it real quick where I can click and drag. And then this automatically refers to A5 because it's a moving reference cell. So it would just immediately get me to South. And that's how you count participants. We'll start diving into content in the next series. So thank you for watching.